It's time to address all the things in your home, all the possessions, all the extra furniture, the gifts that you got that you never did anything with, the things from your parents' home that ended up in your garage. It is time to address all those things. And then you get overwhelmed. Then you take a look and you say, oh my gosh, this is going to take forever. What do I do with this? Do I just pay somebody to haul it off? But there's some value there. Well, I have a solution, and it is MacSold.com. My guest today is Heather Dawson. She is a licensed auctioneer and a graduate of the ISA Core Course in Appraisal Studies. She offers a comprehensive skill set that helps get all the things not only sold, but at maximum value with less stress and less hassle for you. So let's welcome Heather Dawson, and we're all going to learn a little bit about how to address the overwhelm with the items left in our homes on this episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. In today's world, older adults face major transitions like downsizing, relocating, or modifying their homes to age in place, all while embracing life after these changes. As a senior home advisor and seasoned realtor, RobinMcCoy guides these decisions with care and thoughtful planning, helping create a vibrant future. Welcome to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60 with me, your host, Robin McCoy. My guest today is Heather Dawson of MacSold. And I'm really excited to talk to you today, Heather, because we met in Wichita at the Equip Conference with Catherine Ambrose, and I had really wished I'd known about you years before. So we are going to talk to Heather today, and this is going to be all about how to get rid of all the things that you have in your house. And a lot of people have a lot of value in their house, right? With all the stuff.
All the treasures. Yeah.
They are.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about an easier, a different way of maximizing the items that you have in the house without having to do quite as much of the work, like hauling everything out to the driveway for a garage sale.
Yeah. Yep.
And that sort of thing. So Heather, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about I know you're an auctioneer and, an appraisal expert and all those things. So why don't you put it together in a more logical sense for us?
Sure. Yeah. I guess I'm just a girl with a passion for things. What do they call that? A maximalist these days? I am a licensed auctioneer. I am an appraiser and a professional organizer. Grew up in the auction industry. My parents had an auction house. My mom was an appraiser. But these days, I work passionately for a company called MacSold, and I assist them in business development and work very closely with professionals that have clients that are downsizing and navigating what to do with all their things. Realtors that work with seniors, particularly professional organizers, senior move managers, state settlement specialists, attorneys, trust officers. Those are the folks that have clients that need a solution for the items they're not keeping. And we help them sell everything in quick, seamless, efficient ways.
And you know what? That sounds like, it's like the keys to the kingdom. How do I do it in the most efficient, most productive, less stress? Because, as a realtor, I do run into this, and it's almost heartbreaking when, like I said, before I met you, that this might have been a little bit easier solution for people, is so much of that stuff that gets left behind, whether the parent passed away or the parent was moved into an assisted living. Often it's memory care where they don't necessarily have the cognitive ability to handle this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's tragic. A lot of this stuff just goes in landfills, and that's a whole other can of worms that, we might not want to go into today. So I think this is it's a turnkey solution.
Yeah, well, we have a solution for the landfill problem too, so we've got it all.
So let's do an overview of what is Max Sold. If I were to introduce it to my clients, what is my best way to explain you?
Right. So Max Sold is really a complete estate sales solution run as an online auction. And what Max Sold provides is the tools for people to very quickly and efficiently clear the contents of a home or, complete a downsizing sale project. So we have a very user-friendly, intuitive app. It has an AI integration where, let's say you're in the kitchen and you have to sell a KitchenAid mixer. You take a few photos. It's going to auto-populate title, description, show you recent ones that have sold and what they sold for. Just help you really photograph everything in your home you need to sell or in your client's home that needs to be sold to create an auction catalog. And then we launch it for you, right? So Max Sold then launches it, advertises it, manages the communication with the interested buyers, collects all the payments, and generates a comprehensive, authentic, transparent report at the end of everything that's sold, what it's sold for, just walks you through the process and lets you control the timeline too. So if you have a larger downsizing project and it's going to take a while, that's fine. Take your time doing it. If you need things done very quickly to get the real estate sold, you could do it fast. So it's flexible and it's a tool. It's really a tool to have in your tool belt if you're working with these clients that are navigating the need for these sales.
And I was on a mastermind call this morning with our mutual friend, Catherine, and she was in a house in Wichita recently that the people had lived there since 1964.
Wow.
And, and not everything was worthy. A lot of it was, paper, just trash that needed to go.
Right.
But there was a lot of things in there that just, it's literally a lifetime
Yeah.
of possessions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how would you say someone should just even approach something like that if it's that extensive?
Right. So a lot of our industry colleagues that are senior move managers or professional organizers that specifically have a niche in the area of helping people downsize are a great place to start because they are trained and knowledgeable on how to begin that process, how to start approaching the project of all these items in the home in smaller projects. They know how to chunk them out into more manageable, parts you can bite off and chew versus trying to swallow the whole thing at once. So to speak.
Sure.
So, and this, Robin, like being in this industry, helping people downsize, it really comes down to collaborating with all of our other colleagues that are doing all these parts of the pie, right? So working with those organizers and move managers right out the gate, bringing in their
It's
expertise
huge.
helps.
Well, because it's, I think, and when I get there, often by the time I get there, if they don't know that there's a move manager in existence that helps seniors do this, right? They help them chunk it down. They help them understand how much is going to go to their smaller place, right? And how much will fit and what's going. And so again, by the time I get there, oftentimes it's an urgency. Because the situation was either I'm going to get to it, I'll do it myself, or I'm just not doing it. It's so overwhelming that they don't even know where to begin. So it's a paralysis situation.
It can be. Yeah, definitely. And there are strategies to tackle that as well. And sometimes it, of course, will be a little bit more stressful because when you're under a time crunch, that's what happens. Yeah. But there are...
Well, and I think, and I learned with my own mother, right? This is when I wish I had known you in the fall of 2023 instead of the fall of 2024, is that there's, again, just throwing it all out kind of just seems terrible because, again, it just often will end up in a landfill or, something like that. And trying to sell this stuff off piece by piece, all the bedding, all the stuff that my mother had from the 60s, like ashtrays that are really cool again.
Yeah.
But it's one at a time. And I think that's the joy of Max Sold is you can do it all and push it to you.
Right.
And I don't have to run to mom's house and put and meet the person that's going to give me $12 for the bedding.
Right. No, there's a far more efficient way to do that. Absolutely. We can create a Max Sold sale and get everything sold in the ways that make the most sense in a quick.
One of the things that intrigued me is the collectibles, right? I mean, like collectible guitars and artwork and very expensive items.
Yeah.
That you guys are able to sell at the premium price they deserve because they are a collectible and a real one, not one that somebody thinks is.
Right. Well, one of the beautiful things about auction in general is that you can command the fair market price. You're not controlling the realized prices of these items by putting tickets on them, by putting price tickets on them. You're putting it in front of the market, and the market is commanding the value. So competitive bidding will help items reach a realized fair market price or more. We see it go beyond all the time. I see it all the time. I had my own organizing client. She had a Sony camera lens in her father's estate that was worth over $2,000 or was realizing that price in the market. So, we put it up on the auction block on a Max Sold sale and it exceeded. I think it hit almost $2,500. So,
oh, wow. I got to go look at my old camera lenses that I have.
And I live in a more rural area. I work remote from Bluffton, South Carolina. So if we had run a traditional estate sale and said, okay, well, let's put $1,500 on this and hope we get it, who knows? People
knows?
haggle, but putting it out there for auction and letting people compete with each other.
Well, it's like a house, right?
Yeah.
It's like a house. The price of something is merely a marketing tool to draw the buyers in, and who will be willing to pay the most.
Right.
Based on what the perceived value of that product to those people out there at any given time, right?
Right.
So it's important to note that you guys start everything at $1.
We do. Start everything at $1. We sell cars.
Explain that, please.
For thousands. Cars sell for thousands of dollars, and we start them at $1. So the trick is to really understand that you need to be in front of the market, because when you have something that's desirable in front of the market that desires it, the market is going to competitively bid against each other to hit the realized price or higher. So again, that's the beauty of an auction. So you can start anything at $1, and if it's collectible and you have the interested buyers and you have their attention, they're going to bid it up. They're going to bid it up to fair market price or better. On the flip side, when we circle back to the concern of keeping items out of landfills, if you have hard to sell items and you start them at $1, people are curious. People are willing to check it out, and then they're willing to bid. Hey, I could take that home and repurpose it for a few dollars. Or, gosh, my kid just got their first apartment, and wouldn't it be great to grab that for a nominal amount and furnish the apartment? Or, gee, we're doing Airbnb. We need to furnish it. They're not asking a whole lot. Bidding starts at $1. And what happens is, you may not be making a big profit on those hard to sell items, but you're rehoming them and you're saving the money that you would have spent if you paid a junk hauler to take it to a landfill. And
Well,
what you
that's a
need
good
to
thing.
remember is that a lot of the donation centers won't take some of these big hard sell items, like the big
Yeah.
TV armoires from the
Yeah.
90s that are
They won't want anything to do with those.
they won't take up their floor space. They're filling landfills. Let's get those rehomed. Let's get those sold for a little bit of money, and whoever takes it and does their cool project and repurposes it into a light up bar. You see stuff like
Yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the Dollar Start helps to rehome items, and it also allows for that competitive bidding to be engaged at like a higher rate too, because it does attract more clicks and views to your sale. And the truth of the matter is the auction industry is changing. It used to be the brick and mortar shop on the corner. People would show up, the bid calling would start, and you had 300 people with their cards they'd hold in the air. But now we've got the power of the internet, right? Which means we have the power of numbers, and maximizing how many people can click and view your sale is so exponentially greater. Like, I remember my parents running those auctions live in person, and wow, 250 people are in the house. That's nothing. Like, look at a sale that's got 78,000 views, right? Like, that's the internet now, and that's what you want. So trying to rehome items, trying to maximize bidding on collectible items, it's more than possible when you're in an auction.
So you said one time, we were talking, or maybe I saw you speaking or something, that you've even sold half used jugs of laundry soap.
Right. Well, so if you're
Stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So I had a client who went into memory care. So that's very much like an estate. Not much goes with her. Everything needs to be liquidated to sell and get the money to pay for that care. And we had to sell everything. We had to clear the home. And let's keep what we can out of a landfill. So as an organizer, there's strategies where you have common themes in a house. A common theme in every estate, in every home, is household supplies. Everybody has household supplies. So round them all up as you go through the home, put them all in one bathroom or wherever you have the space. And then when you're taking the pictures and cataloging your online sale, make that one big bundled auction lot. Take a bunch of pictures. It's one great big huge buyout household supply lot. And it might have a half-used jug of Tide detergent. It might have a never-opened gigantic package of paper towels from Sam's Club. Whatever it is, the stuff that people have, when you put it all together, it has value to people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
When you go to the store. And so you sell it as one big auction lot, and it does well, and you've kept it out of the landfill. It's so funny. Like, I had a lady came to pick up her auction lot of the big, huge auction household supplies, and she said, look, I'm in a mom's club play date group, and I know what I'm going to use. I'm going to bring the rest and put it out on the swap table. Like, it's getting.
It's laundry soap.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it's not something you're going to take internally.
Right.
It's not, so it's perfectly safe. And things are expensive right now. I think that's a brilliant idea that you say, I'll take what I need, and then I'm going to bring it to my mom's group or the bunco group and let anybody take whatever it is that they want. And there you have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you talked about... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Say, another great example is books, right? Everybody is like, oh no, my client or my mom has 550 books. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, a lot of our seniors, the older generation, they're downsizing. Books was a thing. Like, the days of like going to the big Barnes and Nobles and hanging out, like books, everybody bought books. So now you have all these homes and estates with so many books, and libraries are like, please do not donate all these books. And thrift stores are like, we can't sell all these books. And who wants books to end up in landfills? You do the same
Right.
thing. You create a big, I call them buyout auction lot, a big lot. And then you kind of salt and pepper it with the more enticing books like the complete Harry Potter series and stuff. And people will bid on a 500 book lot because they take it home, they go through it, they keep what they want, they share the rest with their friends. Maybe they donate some, but it stays out of the landfill.
Days out of the landfill. So you, oh, I forgot what I was going to ask you.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I've got all these questions and they just are all over the place. So how do you promote this, right? So I'm in Dallas. You're in a small town in, I think you said North Carolina or South Carolina. So what's the difference there between being in a small town somewhere and being in a big metro area? How does this get promoted and how do the people get their stuff?
Yeah, so Maxsold does all of the advertising. We're on key advertising websites for auctions and estate sales. We are, boosting it on Facebook Marketplace. We have a following that we blast emails out to. And of course, we share the ability for our partners to share their sales in their network too. So, like for instance, as an organizer, I join my local grassroots buy and sell groups and nextdoors.com and share on there, which helps my business as well, of course, right?
Sure.
So any organizer or move manager does that because it helps their business as well. So Maxsold, though, does a substantial amount of the advertising for all of their sellers. And then there's a pickup day. So there's a pickup day when the local buyers come to retrieve their items. They've already paid in advance. The seller or the organizer running the sale will get a report, so they'll know who the buyers are and what they got and when they're coming. And then they need to be there to supervise it. So they're project managing the event. And all of our buyers, they sign off on terms and conditions on our website when they register to bid. They understand they're responsible for the safe removal of items. They have to bring their packing supplies if needed. And that's it. It's as simple as that. You need to be there and supervise it. Folks come get their items and go. So, not
That's
as
awesome.
much foot traffic as a traditional estate sale. However, a little bit of, having people come to the home because what we don't want is to take up time and make it inefficient by touching the items too many times, passing it off to different locations and that type of thing.
Right.
Everything stays right where it is at the home. If you're living in the home and you need it all in the garage or another location, then you arrange that ahead of time. But it just sits there while the sale is live and the buyers then come and just pick it up on one day.
And they pick up, so they know they've got to bring a truck or 2 or 3 people or whatever that might require, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't show up with your Honda Civic and want to take a sofa home.
You don't. And you know what? I've actually seen that happen. And there are great resources out there if something like that were to happen, because you never know what people will do. And you can always, access like the Dolly app. And it's kind of like Uber for moving things. Those guys,
Okay.
everybody's
Yeah.
insured and they'll come and help you move your sofa within the hour. There are apps out there for that stuff. So even if people do run into that conundrum, it's solvable,
Okay, that's good to know.
Everybody's within a few miles of a Home Depot where you can rent a van.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So tell me about sizes of auctions. How big or what is too big, what is too small, and what is just right?
Yes. So when you have a sale, there's kind of a formula to follow for profitability. And let me just preface by saying profitability is not always people's goal in having a sale. Sometimes people need stuff out of the house, and they're okay breaking even on cost as long as it moves their project along, it's not in a landfill, stuff is rehomed. But for the sake of a profitable sale, I call it my recipe for success. There's 3 things to keep in mind. One is volume. It's volume, variety, and value, right? Volume. Okay. You want enough in your sale for it to be a sale, right? So full amount of items in your sale. As an auction company, we speak in terms of auction lots. So instead of selling items, we're selling auction lots, right? An auction lot can be one thing, like a couch or a painting or a lawnmower or a KitchenAid mixer, because a KitchenAid mixer is worth enough to stand on its own. An auction lot can also be a group of things, like all the household cleaning supplies, right? So auction lot number 1 is your KitchenAid mixer. Maybe auction lot number 2 are all of those household supplies bundled together. What you want, we would say, is closer to 150 auction lots. That's a full sale with enough volume. Okay. The variety is key. That's next. You want to have a variety of items, because what you want is a variety of people clicking in and viewing your sale. So variety, anywhere from garage items to collectibles to outdoor furniture to kitchenware to vintage things to art to rugs to costume jewelry to tools. You know, like, the more variety you can think of, the better. And the great thing about MaxSold as a platform is that you are able to include really anything in the sale. I mean, we don't have a firearms license. We can't sell a wine collection. We don't have a liquor license. But anything that you would sell in an estate sale, you can sell on MaxSold. Cars, jewelry, household supplies, kitchenware, you name it. So
because I would imagine people that are looking for a big bunch of household supplies may also see a KitchenAid mixer and go, you know what, I've always wanted one of those, and that looks brand new.
Yep.
And now they've bought that and the supplies and the KitchenAid and then that crystal bowl and all those coffee mugs.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You know? That's what happens. And they have a whole fun collection of things. But the last thing is value. So to make your sale profitable and to have what we call a high sell-through rate, and let me tell you, MaxSold's sell-through rate is high. It's generally over 90% of all the items that get sold. Very little left for you to deal with in the end. But to maximize that sell-through rate and maximize the realized price of everything in the sale, it is key to keep items of value in the sale if you have items of value to sell. So for instance, if you have a sterling silver flatware set and your client is like, hey, just send it to the scrapper. I don't know. We don't want this. My kids don't want this. Keep it in the sale. Sterling silver, gold has value in the market. If you include something like that in your sale, you're going to exponentially increase the number of views you get in your sale, right? So you could go from 12,000 views to 78,000 views, depending on what you keep in your sale. Views equate to bids. So the more views you get, the more competitive bidding you get. Competitive bidding becomes higher realized prices for everything. So if you have that old TV armoire from the 90s, and you're like, oh man, let's get this sold for $1 and out the door. If you have high value items in your sale, then you're going to not only sell that, most likely, you're going to sell it for more than you expected. And we see that happen all the time. It's a formula that just works. It's like the social science of the online auction industry, to be honest. And it's interesting.
So if I've got collectibles, like I've got, let's say I've got artwork, right? Mm-hmm. And it's good artwork. It's not, that you bought at Target. It's fine artwork. Mm-hmm. Then I should have that in there, but also have the 90s armoire, because that artwork is going to drive up the price of the armoire as well.
Yes, it's going to drive up the number of views your sale gets, and it's more likely that there will be people that say, an armoire, I'm dying for one of those.
Are you 62 or older and considering buying a home? It's important to explore all the opportunities available to you. I want to introduce you to Alicia Dutton with Mutual of Omaha Reverse Mortgage. Since 2013, Alicia has been dedicated to helping baby boomers unlock the benefits of reverse mortgages and reverse for purchase programs. Whether you are looking to stay in your current home or right-size into a new one, Alicia provides personalized attention to meet your unique needs and timeline. She is a trusted resource for financial advisors, realtors, and loan officers, and has been a guest on this podcast. She is ensuring you are educated and empowered every step of the way. Discover the possibilities with Alicia Dutton today.
You never know, right?
So what about shipping? What about people that want to buy something but they don't live in Dallas or in your small town?
Right. So here's the thing with shipping. Max Sold invites shipping, and we have people, Max Sold is throughout Canada and the US. So we have buyers that regularly shop our site and will, email the seller like a UPS shipping label and be like, great, ship it to me.
Okay.
You want to be selective about what you're shipping, though, because what we've also learned is that a lot of things don't need to be shipped. Like you don't need to ship everything in the house because you have plenty of people in your local market that are collectors. Everywhere you go, you have plenty of people willing to bid items up. Like you don't need to ship a car. People want cars everywhere.
Right.
You can do it. It's like that for almost everything. But like that Sony camera lens that I told you about, that was the only item that I offered shipping on in my sale, because everything else in that sale, there were good things, but I knew that there was enough interest in a local buyer market within 90 miles of the home to warrant making it easy and not having to ship anything. The camera lens, I asked Max Sold, hey, can you alert your top 12 camera buyers in the US? Just let them know. And they did, and that was great. So you want to be selective on what you ship. You want to make sure it's worth shipping. Like, never ship a China set. One thing to know about shipping breakable items is the liability.
They're going to break.
Well, the liability falls on the packer. So if it breaks in transit, if you're the one that put it in the box, becomes your problem, So if you do ever ship anything that you've sold online, I highly recommend you bring it to like a UPS store or FedEx, have them do the shipping and let them deal with your buyer directly. But, if it's jewelry, if it's a one-off collectible, if it's something that's like a camera lens that's expensive, things like that are great to ship. And Max Sold is happy to work with you. We do have agreements in place that we would navigate with the seller before, doing the shipping process, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. So I'm happy to talk to people about that more.
Well, and you just said that you would alert your top 12 camera buyers or whatever. So let's say I have something. I have this artwork. I have this camera lens. I have this watch, right? I'm sure watches are a big thing. How do you do that? Does Max Sold look at the items in a particular auction and say, oh, look, we've got that watch. Let's make sure we alert our watch buyers. Or do I, as the seller, need to say, hey, I've got this watch. If you know of anybody that buys a lot of watches, can you promote it differently? How does that work?
So it'll be a combination really of both. I mean, if Max Sold sees something in one of their sales, and let's say one of our partners, one of our move managers is running a sale for their client and they've got something that we know is very, very valuable, very sought after, very collectible, easy to ship. Sure, their customer success, account rep who they work with regularly would probably give them a call and be like, hey, you want to consider shipping on this? Want to talk to your see what they think. That could happen. But otherwise, a lot of people will just innately ask about certain things. When people have things that are very valuable, that's the first thing they bring to the conversation. They want to know, how are we going to take care of the selling process for this? And that conversation usually happens up front.
Okay, because I'm thinking coin collections, stamp collections, some of those very specialized things that somebody.
And to interrupt, just to let everybody know, on February 4th, we are going to have a 30-year veteran appraiser talk about tips and tricks for coins and watches and how to help your clients navigate what to do with them. So
I'll get that information and make sure I promote that as well for everybody to put on your calendars, because I think
it's free and it's great knowledge.
Yeah, to have an expert that will tell you, what to kind of, just look for and what things are valuable right now. I think a lot of times we get things that are handed down from our great grandparents to our grandparents to our parents to us, and we think either it's worth a ton because it's so old,
Yeah.
or it's probably not worth anything because, it's just been in a drawer, right? So we don't really know what we're talking about or what we're looking at sometimes.
Right. Yeah. No, people often don't know. They just don't know what they have, and you don't know what you don't know.
Right, right. I guess that's why Antiques Roadshow was such a big deal. I don't know if it's still on the air or not, but it was a big thing, right? People would bring in their grandmother's chair
Yeah.
and find out it's worth $20,000 or $20.
Yes. And fun fact, my mom was one of the first appraisers on the Antique Roadshow.
Really?
And we do have a recorded webinar from November where she hosted with me all about that costume jewelry that you find in people's closets and boxes and don't know what to do with.
Oh my gosh, I got to go watch that. I've got my grandmother's costume. I don't know why I hung on to it for so long, but I pulled it out for a Mrs. Roper costume.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I love it.
So I'll have to share those pictures with you. But yeah, you've got all this stuff, and again, you don't want it to just go sit in a Goodwill store. You want somebody that is going to have fun with it and enjoy it. So we did talk a little bit as we kind of go through this. Sometimes people have so much stuff and they want to get part of it out and then maybe do this again for the other part. Do you recommend more than one sale, or do you recommend really trying to get it all in one? Because if you're looking for 150 lots for a good, profitable sale, then that kind of answers my question.
Yeah, the only time that really you want to navigate more than one sale is when there's so much volume in the house with good variety that you can chunk it out into more than one good sale. Because what can happen is people, have one great sale and then they have a bunch of like TV armoires that they put together in the next sale and they end up struggling to sell because they don't have that recipe for success to get the realized prices they might want and the sell-through rate they might want. So keeping that formula together is key. But, I have certainly, I've had a project where we had 3 very successful sales. Now, the owner of the items was like a lifetime collector, just kept going to auctions and estate sales and thrifted and collected and we're talking like 40 years of collecting. So we just jam-packed every crevice of her home with collectible items. And so it was like, it would have been like a 950 auction lot sale on one sale.
Wow.
So we had to break it into several, and there was enough value there throughout. And we broke it into sections of the home. Like she had a 3-car garage with a loft that was jam-packed. That was one sale. She had the main level of her house, which of course was jam-packed. That was one sale. And then she had her very, very large basement with bedrooms and everything. That was jam-packed, and that was a sale. So there was just enough volume and enough variety to make it work. But if you're just trying to figure out how to get stuff out of the way to help along the downsizing project, I would more suggest finding a designated area in a garage or a basement or something where you can kind of, as you're taking your time to catalog, take pictures in the app, you set them aside in that area so they're out of your way. And
like a staging area, and you just move. Once it's cataloged, it goes over there. To be cataloged on this side, cataloged on that side.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what haven't we talked about? I feel like we may have missed something. What would you like to tell people about how you, Max Sold, can help somebody in Dallas just get started with this process?
Well, I think one cool thing to let everybody know about MaxSold that's a little different from other platforms is that we have something called a soft close. So a soft close means that we don't let people jump in at the last second and just win the item. If somebody jumps in at the last second, MaxSold automatically extends the auction another minute or two. So that everybody has a chance to competitively bid until the bidding is done. That's how you can simulate a live auction. So, right, in a live auction, you've got a auctioneer who's bid calling. You see everybody in the audience going once, going twice, 3 times. Oh, he sees your hand up, sees your number. He knows it's going to keep going. But you can't do that if you're an internet auction. So a soft close does that for you. So MaxSold makes sure that we maximize the realized price. One of the ways we do it is by extending bidding when the bidding needs to be extended. So that's a cool thing to keep in mind. Otherwise, I am always available to connect with people if they have questions. We do have referral partnerships that we offer other professionals in the downsizing industry, whether you're a realtor or a senior move manager or an organizer or a senior placement coordinator or an attorney, whatever you're doing out there, we want to work with you. We want to be your go-to tool. Reach out to me, and I'm happy to share my contact info if you'd like. But my direct line at MaxSold is 470-206-0211. Call me anytime. I'm happy to answer questions. We do have a lot of support in place for anybody that wants to start running sales for their clients.
I just found it, like I said, when I met you last fall, and I was just, this is the greatest thing ever. Because again, you guys do all the heavy lifting as far as promotion. You handle the money, which is a big deal. That means nobody's going to walk up and start haggling the price. No. Nobody's going to say, oh, I've only got $10. I don't have $12. You don't have to worry about somebody trying to write you a check.
And I have a tip regarding those hagglers. So I have had people say to me, realtors, move managers say, oh, well, we've got a guy, he'll come in and he'll give us some money and just take stuff right there and it's gone, it's out the door. Like, I call that a buyout guy. And that's fine. But here's the thing. If you have the time and you can do a sale, you tell him about the sale. Guaranteed he is going to bid on those things, and he is going to bid against all the other buyout guys who are bidding against him. And guess what happens? They pay more than they would have if they walked in the door of your house.
And then call the buyout guy after your sale is over and let him buy the last 10 items that didn't go for whatever reason. Let him have those.
Generally, they probably won't buy those. What
they won't,
do is
but
charge you a nominal cost to take them away. But if you do it right, you shouldn't have very much left.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining me today and trying this whole live on LinkedIn thing. I'm not really sure how it went. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Neither one of us had done that before, so we'll see how that played out. See if there's any questions in a chat somewhere that we can answer after the fact. But again, thank you so much. I just think this is a wonderful option for people. And as if you're out there and you're thinking, I need to start getting rid of stuff because I want to move in a year, now's a great time to get started with that. And if you are finding yourself with a house, maybe it's a parent or other loved one, a house full of things, and you just don't know what to do, this is also a wonderful alternative to ease that stuff out of there.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thanks again, Heather. Thank you for tuning in to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Please make sure you like, share, and comment so that we can spread this great information to far more people and find us on YouTube and all the places. So anyway, thank you. Hope everybody has a good time or a good day, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in to Embracing Life After 60 with me, Robin McCoy. This podcast is produced by Jen Sariano with special thanks to the amazing team at Relax I Got This. You can find more episodes on YouTube and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, follow, and share to help us spread the message. Until next time, keep embracing life to the fullest.